are diving into open houses and door knocking. It's the last one in our series. Last week, if you missed it, we had Jason on from, I want to say Neo Home Loans. I could be wrong on the name of his company right now. But anyways, he was fabulous talking about the different types of loan programs from conventional VA, FHA, USDA, but more specifically diving deeper into some of the niche programs inside of those loan programs that you can utilize for lead generating, thinking outside the box so that you can check off those boxes for worked with a USDA client, worked with a VA client, worked with a conventional client, worked with an FHA client. Okay, so some fabulous stuff there. Today, as we dive into open houses and door knocking, you're going to be able to check off some of the boxes like walked a neighborhood leaving door hangers. And in case you're like, Amy, where do I find door hangers? Well, number one, postcards would work too. So oftentimes when I door knock, I actually leave postcards behind. I like them because you can stick them right in the corner of their door or slide them underneath their doormat. The door hangers, though, same place where we showed you how to make those postcards. If you go into print in One Design, printed materials, they do have door hangers and they will print those and ship them off to you. So not super expensive to do that, but that's where you get those door hangers. So go walk a neighborhood leaving door hangers. We're going to talk more about that today. Let's see here. I was just looking to see what else. Held an open house. So if you haven't done that yet, this is going to be a way to mark that off. So I really think those are your main. Oh, the other thing that you could do is you could make a tour video for a listing. You could do that during your open house. In fact, I usually recommend that you do that during the open house. So just some fun things that you can do. So let's dive into this. I don't have a full presentation for it, but let's get started anyhow. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to unmute yourself. Ask away. You can throw them in the chat box. I'll make sure to have that chat box open as well. Maybe it's thinking about opening. All right, let's talk about this. Now, as you know, you've been around long enough now throughout this month to know, if you haven't heard me before, that I'm all about systems and processes. So if open houses or door knocking or a farm is going to be part of your regular lead generating activities, I do highly recommend that you turn it into a system and process that is repeatable, it's duplicatable, it's something that allows you each week when you walk in on the first day of your week to set yourself up for success, knowing what you need to do each and every day. I'm not going to talk so much about your systems and processes here because I just want you to try the actions. Maybe you've never held an open house before. Maybe you've never door knocked. So let's talk about it. So first, when we go to hold an open house, we want to make sure that we pick the right house. Hold on, I'm just trying to find you guys because you guys are like missing in action currently. So I'm just rearranging my screen a little bit. All right, so you want to pick the right house. Picking the right house doesn't have to be that complicated. If you have a listing, that's always a good choice to pick your listing to hold open because now it's dual duty. If you don't have your own listing, look for other listings inside your office, other agents in your office that have listings. Ideally, I like vacant homes. If it's not my listing, I'm going to look for vacant homes first. If I have like a farm area or an area where I'm marketing on a regular basis, I'm going to look for homes in that neighborhood. And then also I'm going to look for homes that are positioned appropriately to get traffic. Okay. I don't want people having to make 23 turns to get to my open house because they're going to get tired of turning at turn 3. Okay. So more than 3 turns, probably not a great location. Move on to a next one. So pick the right house. The other thing that you can do is if there's like multiple homes that match those criterias is look for homes that are going to pull the biggest buyer pool. So if your median home price in your area is $600,000, holding open $1 million home probably isn't going to bring the largest buyer pool. Not only that, it's probably going to bring a lot of looky-loos through, okay? Doesn't mean you shouldn't hold $1 million home open, especially if you are in that luxury market. But for the most of us, looking at average homes, thinking about hosting an open house, Um, you want to look for homes in a price range that's going to pull the biggest pool of buyers. So I would say kind of that median home price and lower. Okay. The other thing that you want to pay attention to is location. Not just is it easy to get to, but is it in a neighborhood that you're going to feel safe hanging out in for a couple of hours? Okay, so keep those things in mind when picking the location. The next thing you want to do is we don't want to just show up on Saturday and open the house and hope that the agent that's got the listing put it in the MLS. We're going to want to do a little bit of pre-work leading up to that MLS. We want to post it on social media. If you have sign writers, make sure if the agent whose listing it is that there's a sign on top of the for sale sign that says open this Saturday, right? So there's lots of things that you can do there, but we want to make sure that it is posted in the MLS, which usually will push it out to all the other syndicated sites. Okay, your realtors, your Zillows, your homes.com, all those places, as well as get it out there on social media, get the word out. Okay. Um, the other things that you want to do leading up to your open house is do a little bit of prep work. Know where your signs are going to go, right? You can never have too many open house signs leading to your open house. More is always better, especially if there's more than one route to get there. We want it, ideally, we want the signs starting on like the major thoroughfare. So where the most cars are, we want the signs there, and we want them every corner leading up to the house and then one at the house. Okay. Ideally, I would say 6 signs is the minimum, and you go up from there. If you don't have open house signs, borrow somebody's. Okay. Super simple. You don't have to go invest a lot of money to hold an open house. You can go borrow somebody's signs. And then those generic signs, I think they run like 30 or 40 bucks a sign. So the ones that just say open house on them. Okay. So make sure you know where your signs are going. And me personally, especially it's like summer right now. Well, at least in some areas of the country, it's summer. So, some areas of the country apparently got like 2 feet of hail yesterday. Okay, I don't want to be putting open house signs out in hail or in 100-degree temperatures. So I like to pay somebody to put my signs out. There's your tip for the day. Find some teenagers in your area that are looking to make some extra money. Pay them 20 bucks a day to go put the signs up and take them back down. Now, don't leave it to a teenager to make sure they know how to put those open house signs up. The first time we do it, we may want to have them go with us, or we may want to do a test run of them putting those signs out to make sure they know that there's arrows on those signs and they get the arrows pointing the right way, to make sure where they should go on a corner, right? In the street, on the sidewalk, in somebody's yard, where are they going to go? And then when I take time to identify where my signs are going to go, I usually print up a map and then I mark those locations on a map. Number one, now my sign person knows where the signs are going. Number two, if I'm doing my own signs, now I know where I put the signs so that I can make sure to pick them all up at the end. So I always map those signs out. Something else you might want to do, which is going to help you knock on doors, is go pick neighbors to knock on before the open house. Let them know that there's going to be an open house, that there might be a little bit more traffic than normal in the neighborhood, right? Make them aware, be kind, be the informative agent, invite them to the open house. Okay, when I go door knock a neighborhood for an open house, I'm probably going to look at the houses across the street and next door to the open house. So maybe like 10 on each side of the open house, and then maybe like 20 to 25 across the street. Okay, so that's kind of my goal there. And again, we're just door knocking. Hey, my name's Amy. I'm with Realty One Group Fox. I'm holding your neighbor's house open this weekend on Saturday. First off, we wanted to make sure to invite you to come check it out, because the best people to promote a house that's for sale in a neighborhood are those that are living in the neighborhood. And we want you to be able to pick your neighbors. So now's your choice. Come check out the house. See what your friends you think would be a good match for that house, so that you can pick your neighbors and make sure you get good neighbors moving into that property, right? Secondly, I just wanted to give you a heads up that there might be a little bit more traffic. We'll try to keep an eye open, make sure they don't block any driveways or anything like that. But I did just want to give you a heads up so that you were aware, right? So we're just coming at it from contribution. We know statistics say that somebody who can see that open house sign is going to sell their house. So we want to connect with those people around that open house, make relationship with them, and connect with them as often as possible. Some other things that you can do for an open house. You can email that open house out to your database, especially if you've been tagging your database and setting it up appropriately. It makes it really easy to pinpoint all the people who live in that neighborhood in your database, or all the people that live in that town in your database, and send it out to them. Invite them to come by and bring their friends. Again, make sure you're posting it to social media. We're going to door knock those neighbors. And then we are going to get ready to host that open house. Okay. If you're wondering, is there a perfect day or time for open houses? There is not. It's whenever you're available. So it might be a Saturday. It could be a Sunday. It could be a weekday. Okay. You could aim for like midday during the week. You could aim for the evenings during the week. Same thing with like during the weekends. Try different times, try different days, see what works best for you in your neighborhoods, in your areas, in the town that you live in. There's no wrong or right answers. Something you may want to do as well for your open house is put balloons on your open house signs. Okay. People flock to balloons because they're silly. No, because they grab people's attention, and make the balloons the same color on each of the signs. And this is why I say that. On Saturday, you're going to go put out those open house signs, and so is everybody else that's hosting open houses in the area. So I've seen corners where there's like 7 or 8 open house signs. Okay, if yours is the one with the golden black balloon, then they're like, ooh, that one I can follow. They go to the next corner. They're like, oh, there's the one with the golden black balloons. They're going to follow that sign instead of getting distracted by all the other signs. So it just helps you to stand out a little bit better. A couple balloons on each sign, a couple balloons at the sign at the house will help people find you better. The other thing that I like to do with my open houses personally is I don't have a lot of paperwork for people to take home with them. Okay, I like to make a Google Drive folder labeled, like if the house I was holding open is 123 Sample Street, I'm going to create a folder in my Google Drive called 123 Sample Street. And inside that folder, I'm going to put a flyer with all the listing details. I'm going to put in other listings in the area. I'm going to put in the neighborhood information. How far away are restaurants? What are the schools in the area? Where's the nearest bus stop, right? What public transportation do we have? What restaurants are there? What activities are there to do in this area? Are we pulling people in from other areas? So what outdoor activities, what indoor, right? Or is there a jumpy house place? Is there a trampoline place? Is there a zoo? Is there a park? Is there a dog park? Is there hiking? Is there a lake, right? What is there to do in the area? I'm going to put that all in that Google Drive. Now, I usually print up one copy of it, put it in the house, and I write on it house copy. Okay. That way people don't walk out with it. And if they want a copy of that information, all they have to do is talk to me, which I'm already talking to them anyways as part of the open house. And then they have to give me legit contact information. Notice I said legit because I'm going to make them sign in when they come to the door, sign off that they understand that they're not being represented by me per the NAR settlement, right? So lots of things that's going to happen when they walk in the door. But sometimes people, I know this might surprise you, sometimes people aren't honest. Okay. And they don't give you accurate contact information. So I'm going to trade them contact information for the details that I have on that house. So that's why I keep it in a Google Drive. They have to get me a legit email or phone number where I can share that folder too. So just some things to keep in mind. The day of the open house, I'm going to get those signs up. Usually what I like to do is I like to go to the open house first. I like to go get it set up, open the curtains, turn all the lights on, make sure it's cleaned up, make sure there's no valuables or weapons or anything setting out where people might feel the need to pick them up and walk away with them. Tuck all those things away, get it ready to go. If I've brought snacks, I'm going to set those out. I'm going to get my sign-in table set up and ready to go. Then after the house is ready, I'm going to walk out that front door. I'm going to lock it. And I'm going to go set up my signs if I'm doing my own signs. Okay, that way I know that as soon as my signs are set up, if somebody's followed me back as I put those signs out and it's showtime, all I have to do is open the door and the house is ready for people to see.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh, people do that to me all the time. I'm like, I'm not ready.
See,
So
that's,
I need
I
to start
always get
doing
it ready first. So if my open house is at noon, I'm there by like 11:30, setting it up, maybe even 11:15, getting it all set up, ready to go, so that I can go get those signs out and be back and just open the door and let them walk on through. See, good tip of the day.
Yeah, I need to start doing that because people get on my nerves when they do that.
Yes. And I do the same thing at the end of the open house too. Before I close the house down, I lock the door and I go pick up my signs, or I wait for my sign guy to pick up all my signs before I close it down, because it never fails, just like Adriana was talking about, is that we go to start shutting all the lights off, closing all the windows, and then all of a sudden somebody walks in the front door and they want to see it. And now the house isn't really like in its best light. Not only that, but it's closed up. I'm locked in a house now with somebody that I don't know, I'm not comfortable with. So I usually will shut the door, lock it up before I turn all the lights off and close everything down. I will go pick up the signs or make sure the signs are picked up. Then I will start closing the house down as it's done. So that way I don't have that last minute people trickling in. Um, when you're there at the open house, engage visitors, right? Our goal is to have conversations. It's to build relationship. That's how we get to the next step, by building relationship. So, number one, I have always and will always require people to sign in when they arrive at the front door. The good news is that now you have an excuse, because of per the NAR settlement, since we're supposed to have buyer representation agreements signed for everybody who we show a property to. Technically, an open house is showing a property. So we have them sign a document stating that they understand that I'm not representing them in an agency capacity, that I'm representing ultimately the seller, that any information they tell me doesn't have to be kept confidential, right? So we have them sign off on that. It's the OHANA form, the open house advisory. I feel like there's
Amy,
some
I
notes.
had a ton of issues with people doing that this weekend.
Yeah.
One was because the one house was super busy and like I was there by myself for a little bit and people were walking everywhere, and then the people that were signing in were just putting down their names, and I was like, I need at least the phone number or email, and they would just ignore me. And that happened to me at both open houses this weekend, and I was like, what like I feel like, can we have that, like the paper that says, that they have to read, and then have them sign into um like the open house signing from Realty One, so that
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that they have to put down all of their information.
Yes, absolutely. So, you can absolutely do that. You can take the information from the form, or the information that you're supposed to let people know about. You can put it in a framed document, on the sign-in table. My sign-in table is usually pretty close to the door. And if it is super busy and I'm the only one there, which I don't recommend, but if you are the only one there, then my job is to make sure people are signing in, because with it being busy, number one, there's no way I can follow people, all the people around the house, make sure they're not walking off with stuff. So I have another sign that says, for the safety and the security of the property, the sellers have requested that in order to see this property, you sign in. And so I'm making sure people are signing in before they walk through that door. If they don't provide an email or a phone number, I can say, here's the problem. Like, if something happens during the open house today and I don't have any way to get in contact with those people who visited, that's going to be a problem for me and my sellers. So I need a way to get in touch with you after the open house. I'm not going to sell your information. I'm not going to give it to other people. Okay. I'm not going to spam you. We just need to make sure, for the safety and the security, that we have not only the names of the people who pass through the open house, but some contact information as well. If they're unwilling to do that, send them away. Totally fine to do that. I understand that as it does get busy, there's a lot of people passing through. It becomes a little bit more hectic and hard to manage. So having like single shot sign-in papers for each person on clipboards might be helpful, so that you can like hand them out to people as they walk in. Please sign in before coming into the house, like stop them before they even get to the door. Um, and don't hesitate to turn people away. Obviously, you can't control everyone. I never want to put anybody in a position where you feel like, there's a safety issue. So if somebody's kind of getting irate or whatever, I mean, let them in, step outside. You may even want to like call the non-emergency law enforcement phone number. Just have somebody there to back up. On that same note, I highly recommend that for safety purposes that you never host an open house by yourself. Bring somebody along with you. It could be a spouse, it could be a grown adult child, or at least one that looks like a grown adult. It could be your neighbor, it could be your dog sitter, it could be a lender, a insurance agent, a home inspector, right? Think of all the people that might benefit somebody else walking through that door that they might want to buy a house. What else would benefit them? Bring that person along with you. That way one of you can always be manning the door, making sure people are signing in. One can be interacting with the leads. The reason that I like um, somebody who's not another real estate agent is that you're not competing for those leads. Like if I've got a lender there, we're competing for the same process. I close the deal and we're going to work together on it. I don't have to share any commissions or anything with that lender when the deal closes. Okay. If you can't find somebody else, bring another agent with you. Just talk about how you're going to split up those leads or share it if somebody does decide to write an offer on that property, or if another transaction results as somebody visiting the property. But have somebody else there. As Adriana mentioned, hers was super busy. Both of hers were super busy this last weekend, and she couldn't hardly keep up with people signing in, much less have conversations with people as they're passing through, which is ultimately the goal of an open house. Only 1% of homes sell through open houses, so we're really there to build relationships and get future business. So think of it that way. So always make sure you have somebody with you. That way you're not overwhelmed and creating really a safety issue by being there by yourself. So hopefully that was helpful. Have that open house. We already talked about what happens at the end. I usually close the door up, make sure all my signs are picked up, then close the house down. That ensures that nobody shows up when the house is dark and I'm walking out. They can't just walk in the door. Any questions about open houses so far?
No.
All right. Fabulous.
So some people, okay, so do you have like a tip for some people sign in only with their email and not their phone number? And I'm always like, shoot, how do I get their number?
Yeah, so I feel like it's a win if you get one piece of good contact information from an open house lead, because like I said at the beginning, people lie. So oftentimes you walk away and they didn't actually give you real contact information. So your goal is that you want to interact with those people through the open house and trade them value. So if I know, because most of the time I have like half sheet sign-in papers, that one's hard to see because it blends into the background, but I have half sheet sign-in papers. So each person has a clipboard with that sign-in sheet. They sign in, I take it back. So I already know before that person leaves that I'm missing a phone number. So as they're walking around and I'm having that conversation with them and they're like, oh yeah, this house is nice, but we really wanted a swimming pool, or we really needed a fourth bedroom, or man, this is a little on the big side for us, or the price range is a little too much. You can be like, perfect. Absolutely. What I can do is, I understand that, 650 is outside of your price range. Where were you hoping to stay? Right. And they're like, oh, closer to like 550, under 600. Perfect. Tell you what I want to do is I want to send you the list of all the houses that are available right now in this area under 600,000. What's a good phone number for you that I can text that list to? Right? So I'm looking to fill in that information as part of that conversation. I'm also making notes on that piece of paper, which is why I like the half sheets. I'm like, person wearing blue overalls, so that I remember, or, had 3 kids with them and a husband or whatever it is, so that I remember when I look at that sign-in sheet, who those people were. And then I'm going to be like, wants house under 600,000. This was a little too much, or needed a pool, or needed a fourth bedroom, or they really liked this property. Send them additional ones that are similar to this, or they didn't get pre-approved yet, so send them over lender information, right? So I'm always looking for what I can trade them that would be valuable to them, that would help them move forward in their home search, or in selling their home, that I can trade for that remaining information. Does that make sense, Adriana? All right, we're
Yes.
gonna go.
Sorry, my daughter's acting up.
No problem. I know how that works. Then the other thing is that Google Drive, right, that I talked about at the beginning. That's part of the reason that I don't have a bunch of papers sitting around for people to walk out the door with at the open house. I trade them that information. So if they want the property flyer or the area information, they're like, man, can I get a copy of this? Be like, yep, absolutely. Can I get your email, please? I'll send it over via email, or I'll text you a link, right? Because with that Google Drive, you can do either. You can text them that link or you can email it to them. So whatever you're missing, you can fill in there by trading them that valuable information for their contact. All right. After the open house, we want to make sure that we follow up with everyone. If our goal is lead generation, then we need to think about how we're going to be in contact with them. Let's see. Asaph says, yeah, he does something similar, tries to leverage the disclosures or pre-run inspections as barter to get the contact information. Yep, absolutely. Just whatever is valuable to them that you can keep in your back pocket so that you can send that to them and get that contact information. After the open house, we want to make sure we've done all this lead generating work. We're not just there to waste our Saturday. We're not just there to sell the listing. That's always a benefit though, especially if it's your own, get that listing sold. We want to get those people to sign in, collect their information, our database. Okay, step number 1, put it in the database. If you use something like what Adriana was talking about, through our websites with Realty One Group, we have a free open house sign-in thing that you can use a QR code for. So you can have them sign in there and then they go straight into your database automatically. You don't even have to manually put them in there. Okay, but however they get there, get them into your database. I recommend all new leads, whether it's from open houses or from door knocking, putting up door hangers, which we'll talk about here in a minute. We want to put them on what I call a 12-by-1 plan. Okay, that is 12 interactions in that first week. For my open house people, that's going to start with a thank you. I like to record a video thank you on my phone. It didn't show up. If I hold it in front of me, it'll show up. A video thank you. I like to find one of the key features of the property. So maybe they had a really cool backyard or an amazing kitchen, or maybe they had the ugliest fireplace that you've ever seen, right? Whatever that key feature is that's going to remind people of that property that they walk through, get in front of that key feature, record a little video, make it generic. Hey, thanks so much for passing through the open house today at 123 Sample Street. I really appreciate you taking time out of your weekend. It was fun getting to know you. If you have any questions about this home or any other property, don't hesitate to reach out, right? So I didn't say their name in there. I just have to record it once. Now I can text it out or email it to every person who passed through that open house. That would be my first interaction, right? If I got their email or at their phone, their physical address, I might send them a thank you note, like an actual handwritten thank you note. I can't tell you how many people I've tracked down. Sometimes they don't leave their addresses, but if they're like a homeowner, you can do like a title search and find them. Okay, right? Lots of ways to do that. You can track them down on social media and interact with them on social media. You can set them up for property searches and start dripping on them with property searches. You can send them over lender information. You can send them over the property information. You can follow up with them on whatever it was that they were looking for based on what you had a conversation about. You can send them over that information, right? So your goal is 12 interactions. If you got their phone number and their email address, I would do a mix of phone, email, and text, okay, over that first week. Okay, then what I like to do is I like to roll them to an 8-by-8, which is 1 contact per week for the next 8 weeks if they still aren't responding to me. Because remember, we know that it takes about 8 connections for somebody to make a decision to start interacting with you. So we want to continue connecting with them until they start responding. Okay, so that would be my open house feedback. So there are just some tips. Again, I didn't go through like the whole process of if this was going to be one of your lead generating activities, what you would do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, leading up to that open house. if this is one of your lead gen activities and you think that would be helpful, if you zip on over to my YouTube channel, I've done some trainings on open houses previously where I break it down by day of what activities you should be doing on what days, so that you can make it systematic and repeatable. Okay. Now, let's talk about door knocking. Okay. There are lots of ways to door knock. One of those is a farm. Okay, a farm is a frequent area of repetitive marketing. That's where you're going to pick an area or a people group or a house group, right? It could be all homes with pools in the area. It could be a specific neighborhood. It could be all people that have more than $200,000 of equity. You can get all those lists from the title company. Sometimes they charge you like pennies to get you that list, but you can pull all that information from your local title company, right? So that would be a farm, and we're going to frequently and repetitively market to it, which means like every month, at least once a month, we're going to market to that neighborhood. So that would be one way, okay? The other thing is that you could just start door knocking neighborhoods. You could be like, every year, once a year, I'm going to knock the entire town or the entire zip code, right? So you could be like, hey, there's 3,000 homes or 10,000 homes, which means that once a month or each month I need to do 1,000 homes, which means that 4 weeks, that's 450 homes. No, it's 250 homes per week. Okay. So the math there, right? 250 times 4 is 1,000. 1,000 times, that'd be 12,000 homes, right? So you'd be like, every week I'm going to go door knock 250 homes. Okay. You could just start on one end of town and start working your way along. Now, you could hang door hangers too, right? That was on our bingo card. You might be like, Amy, door knocking, that sounds scary to me. What if they actually open and I have to have a conversation with them? So we could start with just hanging door hangers. You're going to be like, hey, once a year, I get the entire town with door hangers. Once a week, I just go out and do 250 door hangers until the town is done. And that's part of my lead gen strategy. Totally fine. You're probably going to get transactions from that. Okay. That's the reality. Is it going to be as many or repetitive as like if you were doing a farm where you're frequently and building relationship with those people? Probably not. But is door hangers or leaving a postcard behind a good way to generate leads? It absolutely is. So you can win that way. I would pick a hold on. I would pick a area or a message that I want to deliver. So I wouldn't order all 12,000 door hangers today. Okay. I would start with just this month's door hangers or 1,000 of them, right? If I was going to do 250 per week. Okay, you might be like, Amy, that's overwhelming. Okay, well, maybe you could just want to do 50 per week. That would be 200 for the month. So you might want to start there, but I would only order the door hangers for that month. Okay. Um, and then I would pick what I'm going to do. Am I putting market information on there? Am I putting market information and then on the other side, like area activities for the month or the next month, right? What am I putting on there that would be valuable to people, that would remind them that I'm a realtor, that I'm here for them in case they have real estate related questions, and also that they want to hang on to because it's got information that's valuable to them. Okay. So pull that information, and you could even be specific. If you're like, man, I know I'm doing 200 homes this month and it's 50 homes per week, and I know that this neighborhood has 200 homes, you can make the market data specific to that neighborhood. Here's what sold last month in your neighborhood, or here's what sold in the last 6 months in your neighborhood. Here's the current mortgage rates. Here's what is predicted to happen. You don't have to do this alone, by the way. You can partner with like a lender and share the cost of these. You might be doing the legwork to go door knocking or even just go hang flyers on people's doors, but that lender can share the cost of those with you, and then you can co-brand and co-market those flyers together. Okay. Now, obviously, this is going to be more effective if we're not just hanging door hangers. So the goal here is, if you're scared of conversations, start with door hangers. Just leave something behind on the first couple, maybe the first month, just leave something behind. The next month, we may want to try knocking. Because if we're knocking on the doors, that gives people an opportunity to have a conversation with us. If they don't answer, we're still going to leave something behind. But the more conversations that we have, the faster we can get in a relationship with those people, and the more likely they are to call us if they need something real estate related. Okay. So you can make it house number related. You could say, hey, my goal is maybe once you get comfortable door knocking, maybe you're like, my conversation is 20 conversations a day. As soon as I have 20 people answer the door and talk to me, I can be done for the day. So maybe we don't even get to 50 homes or 250 homes. Maybe on like home 31, you've had 20 people answer the door, right? So maybe that's your goal. Okay. So it doesn't have to be a number related. You might be like, man, I didn't get through the whole town this year, but that's okay because I found that every 35 doors that I knock on, I have 20 conversations with people on average, right? Know your numbers, track it. You may even want to go armed, right? We've got our postcard, but we may want to have the most recent stats, like what actively came on the market this week, right? Because that didn't make it on our postcard. So we may want to be carrying that with us, or the current rate for right now, right? Pertinent information. And the more that you're out there, the more that you're door knocking, the more that you're having conversations with people, the more that you're going to know what they're going to ask you so that you can be more prepared the next time you go out door knocking. Okay. Oftentimes when I door knock, I always like to come from contribution, which is why I always have something to leave behind and a message that's not, do you want to sell your home? Because most people, if you ask them if they want to sell their home, they're going to be like, no. Okay. That doesn't mean you shouldn't ask them. It just means that we need to come prepared with more information than that. It may be, who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Right? It could be, have you thought about investing in real estate? Because you're going to knock on people's doors and they're going to be like, I am never selling. And you're like, that's fantastic. I always love it when people find their forever homes. Who else do you know that needs to find their forever home? Or have you considered investing in real estate to help build a passive income to set you up for future, right? So we can have those conversations as well. When I knock on a door, knock, 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 right? I'm not ringing the doorbell, then knocking. I'm picking one or the other. And then I'm going to wait. Oftentimes I like count to 30, right? So sometimes what I do is I like ring the doorbell, ding dong, and then I count to 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? All the way to 30. Then I might knock because sometimes the doorbell doesn't work. If I can hear it, that's different, but I usually do both. And I listen for people moving inside the house because sometimes, like older folks, it takes them longer to get to the door. Sometimes people have kids or dogs and they got to lock the dogs up before they can answer the door. So I give people space to do so. Okay. Let's see here. I think those are the main things. You could also like go find a sold property if you're like, okay, well, I don't want to start on one end of town and work the other. And I'm not sure that I want to like pinpoint one neighborhood that I'm going to do all my business in. So there's other ways to do it too. You might like look and see what sold on the MLS recently, like in the last week, and go door knock those areas, right? So it could be like, hey, it's Amy from Realty One Group Fox. Another home just sold here in the neighborhood, right? It sold, it went into contract after like 3 days, or it had multiple offers, right? Whatever that is. The news is that they had a lot of activity. They got an offer in 14 days. And the good news is that there's still a lot of buyers looking, right? So if you happen to know, you could share that if you're like, oh, I know they got 20 offers or whatever that is. Have you heard rumors of anyone else thinking about making a move? Okay. They're probably going to lie and say no. Now, if you want to dig in deeper there, a memory jogger would be helpful. So have you heard rumors of any of your other neighbors, you know, your neighbors across the street or on the right or the left that have been thinking about making a move? Right? And they're probably going to be like, nah. Be like, that's okay. That's really our problem. It's a lack of inventory, right? In the next 2 years, have you all ever thought about making a move? They're like, yeah, we've thought about, oh, that's cool. If you were to move, where would you go? Right now, we're opening that door. So we're talking about a sold listing. We're anticipating that they're going to say they don't know anybody who's looking to sell a home. Where we're going to introduce, that's the problem, the lack of inventory. Have you ever thought about the next 2 years, right? Have you thought about making a move? Do you mind if I check back in with you? What would be a good number to reach you at? And what's a good email? When would be a good time for me to check in with you? Okay. Super simple, not too scary. And we're getting contact information so that we can add them to our database and follow up with them, which is the goal. Okay. If there's no activity, like we're not door knocking around that house that's sold in the neighborhood, it might be these are the latest sales in the neighborhood. The highest recent sale was blank, right? Have you heard rumors of anyone else thinking about making a move? Right? If there's a new listing on the market, it might be, hey, it's Amy, your neighbor's home just hit the market. Here's the information on that property, right? Maybe I printed up 50 flyers for that home that just hit the market. It doesn't have to be my listing. By the way, have you heard rumors of anyone else thinking about making a move? Okay. If that was your listing that you're talking about that just hit the market, make sure you communicate that. Okay, if we're having 20 conversations like 3 times per week, okay, 48 weeks per year, that's 2,880 conversations per year. So if 1% of those people that we actually have a conversation with end up buying or selling, that's 28 transactions. So if we're consistent in having 20 conversations about real estate 3 times a week, we could do it door knocking, we could do it through open houses, we could do it however, that's going to be 28 potential transactions on the minimum. Okay. Any questions about open houses? Any questions about door knocking or anything else that we've covered during our month of May for real estate bingo? Alrighty. I hope you guys found this training helpful. I hope you guys walk away with a couple of tidbits that you can put into practice in your business this week that will help you to grow and gain momentum and grow your business. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I have not put the June calendar together yet because number one, it's summer and there's graduations coming up and end of school year. Number two, I'm going to put a poll in the Foxhole group asking what trainings you guys would like to see. And if you're a mentor or mentee, you're probably get a text from me. So stay tuned for that. And the June schedule, it may actually take a break through the month of June. We'll see. I'll probably have a couple trainings in there. But let me know what you would like to see over the summer months of training so that we can help you guys grow your business and reach your goals for 2025. We'll talk to you soon. You're welcome.